Responsibility. That's something that seems to fall on certain people. I think it starts from a young age. And I think that we are actually brought up in our family units and structures to be the responsible ones. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever felt like you're the person that has to, you know, you always get stuck doing the heavy lifting in the family and dealing with the people, you know, all the people in your family that surround you. And it seems like when there's any kind of an issue come up where there is something that someone has to be responsible for, you're the person, whether it's a church group or a social unit or just in a family. And I think a lot of times this happens to us if we're the eldest in the family, because traditionally it seems like the eldest, I'm not saying in every case, because you can have that person who's just either not capable or they kind of run from it. But for some reason, you become the person that everybody else depends on. And hi, my name is Kevin, and welcome to Silver Hill. I'm just taking a little walk through the stroll through the forest path here today. I've already seen an owl. But yeah, have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about how, you know, what would happen to the whole structure if you just were to leave, to just, you know, if you weren't the one that was always pulling the weight? What would happen? Would somebody else just step in? I think that's basically what would happen, is that someone else would do it. But for some reason, everyone goes to you and they expect you to do all the work. And you know what? I find that if you're the person that does all the work, I don't mean all the work, but carries the heaviest load, you're gonna find out that you're also going to be the person that's told the least, which is very odd, because it's like when you're the person that's responsible, and I don't mean it that you're trying to do things and manipulate other people, or that you're trying to get things your way. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm just talking about the fact that somehow you get left high and dry when it comes time for anything to take place. Maybe I should be a little more specific. You know, it's hard to be specific about this one without giving any real personal details away. But I'm in the care right now. I'm both responsible for the care of my mom, and in some ways, my aunt, who is in her 90s. Now, I don't mean it that I'm fully responsible for her. I live a few hours away from both of them, but yet I'm the person that becomes the contact person for everything. And I'm not the person in the family that gets all the rewards. However, if you look back into my life, and maybe perhaps in yours too, you will see that the other persons in the units, I'm talking family units, social groups, whatever, friend structures, you'll find that very often that they are the ones that get all the special treatment. So when they come home to visit or they show up, they're like, oh, so-and-so, you're such a great help. And oh my, what could we do without you? And you know, they bring out the fatted calf. I guess there's stories, ancient stories that really do ring true over time about human nature. And one of them is the person that does all the work doesn't get all the rewards, if you know what I mean. It's like the way they reward you is by giving you more work. And the moment you pull away, I even saw this in school. When I was in school, I used to be a really hard worker in school and I used to spend a lot of time just working on my projects and doing the best I could. And I put a lot of effort into it. And yet somehow, if I ever just by nature, you know, like for example, when I was in school, I remember there was this kid that would always annoy me, and I don't know if I'd say he was bullying me, but he was always at me because he was too small to really bully me. So one day in school, I basically got upset with this kid, and we were sitting there, and we had those old wooden desks, with the arms on the side, the wooden tabletop, and the wooden arm goes right around the back. And I just got so angry at him, nattering at me and nattering at me, that I just basically tried to push his seat away from me. This is, I don't know, it was middle school, I guess you would call it, or early high school. And so what I did was I pushed the desk, but the desk flipped over, and him and everything just went flying on the floor. Now I don't know if he tormented me so much before, because my intention was basically just to push the chair, to push him away, to get away from this racket, because he would sit next to me and on and on and on and on, and just torment me about whatever. So I'm not the type of person that has the time and energy to torment back, to try to, exact vengeance by just doing to them what they're doing to me. It seems like a silly waste of time. It really does. So what happened is the desk fell over, and his books and everything went on the floor, and oh my, it was a big loud thud, and the class was all full there at the time. And guess what happened? The teacher said, Kevin, I'd expect more from you and better from you, and why did you do this sort of thing, and what's wrong with you? And it all came down to me and to what I was doing wrong, because they were used to my behavior. So I guess maybe this is some advice for youth. If you're starting out in life, I would advise against becoming the person that is the responsible person. And I kind of remember that I was always the one in the family that when something had to be done, I would be there, the first person there to help. And I was very close to my dad, and being older, we did a lot of work together. But yeah, without going into much detail, I think you know what I'm saying. And so here I am now in my late 60s, and I'm still dealing with all this stuff that my parents left behind. I was the person that ended up cleaning out their house. Sure, I was compensated as being a power of attorney. It's only a small amount. It's like 5% of a entire sale. So if you're spending 4 years to clean out a person's house, and you're struggling with your own issues, health issues and different things, then really it comes down to the fact that what happens is it's really not that much money to deal with all these issues. And maybe the other people are saying, look at the advantages you have, self-respect maybe, but maybe that's going too far. But I just don't know how people can run from responsibility. But I do know this: when you're dead and gone, someone else will do the work. So if you're one of these responsible people that feel, geez, I can't seem to get the lighting right here, so sorry about that. But if you're one of these people that feel you've got no alternative to do all the work, my advice to you is basically to stand back, start dropping a few of your load, whatever it is you have to do, and maybe not shirk your responsibilities. I'm not saying that, but you need to wane off, because it's not going to win you anything. It's not. It's like you don't get the special meals. You don't get the lobster, as we used to say. All this stuff isn't. You get more work. That's what you're rewarded with, and for some reason you lose. I don't know how that's possible, but you kind of lose self-respect in their eyes. They think because you're doing all the low work, the manual, the physical, maybe even taking care of all the office and the paperwork and that kind of stuff, somehow it does not raise in their minds your level of respect. They don't respect you more. And if they do, they'll never tell you. You'll never have the benefit. You'll never be able to say, you'll never hear it from them, well, by golly, you did a great job doing that, making all those casseroles or whatever you do, or, just taking care of things. You won't get rewarded with that. You'll get rewarded with more work. So, as I said, my advice to you in a situation like this is to do something out of character, out of nature. And they're going to push back. They're going to go, oh my, Kevin, you're not going to look after your mother. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. You're not going to whatever it is. It's not that you're going to completely drop those things, but your reward is always going to be the work, and it's going to exhaust you and it's going to tire you out, while the other ones in your group are going to be going to the beach, taking trips, doing special things, and getting all the praise. And I know you know what you're saying. You don't want praise, and neither do I. But you don't want constant passive aggressive attitude, like you're the bad person. And yeah, this is what happens when you're the worker. You get stuck with all the negative attitudes, and people pour out all their feelings on you and their depression or their anger or whatever. But when the other ones show up, trying to be vague here, you know, when I say the other ones, because it applies to you too. You could be in any group, as I said before, and if you're doing all the work, or, and I don't mean all the work, but you're making sure things get done. You know, like you're the person that says, you know, well, such thing's got to be done by 10 o'clock. You're going to make sure it gets done, or a certain date, or whatever. And if you don't do it, you're afraid it's just not going to get done, and you worry more about the actual job. It's not that you want praise. But the shocking thing is, if you ever goof up, if you ever push the desk over, if you ever just don't show up, and maybe even if you do, you're going to get all the negativity. You're going to get, well, you're not a very good person, you know, that attitude. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Hopefully this background flashing thing, maybe I can get it worked out better next time. That's all I have to say, and please like and subscribe if you want to hear more. These are just my thoughts. And you guys have a great day. Thanks. Bye.